Now, today we're jumping into the broke tax. This is a very common expense. You may know it by different categories in which you pretty much waste and misallocate the money. But the broke tax, in the most simplest form, it's additional expenses incurred for lack of an adequate amount of financial resources. And this could be in very simple forms and stuff that we know of in the categories that we know of, like high interest loans, high interest debt, credit card payments. But one tricky one is definitely the loss of compound interest when it comes to allocating those funds into missed investment opportunities. So that's some of the things we're going to dive into at the end of the video. We'll talk about solutions. What can we do to solve for this? And I'll give you a real life story from my experience that kind of demonstrates some of the solutions that people in great financial spaces tend to make in these same situations. So let's jump into the video. Like and subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you can be notified when new content drops. Let's get it. Loans and debts. Now, between this and the missed opportunities between investments that you're not able to make, these are some of the largest expenses that you're going to incur. And this can be mortgage interest expense. So imagine if we're talking about a $250,000, maybe $300,000 loan, the interest that you'll pay over the course of that loan is astronomical. And obviously the ideal situation, right, where you would incur no broke tax, right? There's levels to it. You have from zero, and then you have until having the worst credit rating and you getting approved for a mortgage, you're going to pay the highest interest expense. But on the ideal side, on the zero side, is if we had $300,000 of savings to purchase the house cash. It's kind of that Dave Ramsey goal push, which is definitely ideal. And it's one of those cases where if you have the opportunity, you don't want to get a mortgage and pay unnecessary expenses unless it's super advantageous from a financial aspect, right? Then you have the mini car loans. I mean, most of us have at least 4 different cars within our lifetime. And if you're getting a payment on each one, it's kind of like a forever car payment. It's like you having a payment for, every month of your life. And if you add up all the expenses that you pay for that particular car loan or for these car loans, it's an astronomical amount. It's going to be a huge interest expense based on those different types of car loans that you're particularly going to have in your lifetime. And we have things like student loan interest and so forth over the course of 10, 15, sometimes 20 years. And then we have investment loss, the money that you lose because you don't have it available to invest. I mean, think about it. If we look at this chart, we take a look at our lives based on decades. And that's kind of how I break things up. I like to look at things in a long-term aspect when it comes to decades of my life and how I can achieve and so forth. So this particular chart is based on a 25-year-old. We're doing this for the sake of giving you an idea of how much money you lose over the course of a decade and 2 decades and 3 decades and so forth. So if this person were to start at, let's say, 25 years old, and you were investing $500 a month, which is very, very conservative considering the car payments that people are paying these days. It's a very conservative amount. And we look at, had you invested that money rather than used it to pay for a car, this can be a tremendous detriment to your portfolio. I mean, if we look, it can be as little as $1.7 million to your portfolio, but it also can be as much, depending on how much you earn on an average rate. It can be as much as $6 million. I mean, and there's a 0.01% of the world that do not care about a $6 million hit to their investment portfolio. I mean, imagine you at 60, 65, and the difference between you having 1 million and 7 million. That's huge. Now, this next one is a tricky one because it's lifestyle creep. It's one of those things that affects us all because it sneaks up on you, right? Generally, it happens when great things happen within your life and your career or your business. So for instance, you get a promotion or you get a raise or you get a new client and now you have a new source of revenue. And it's one of those things where we make adjustments to our lifestyle. And it's not always one huge purchase. A lot of times it's incremental. Let's just say you're making 100K and you go into your annual review. They love what you're doing. They give you a title bump to VP. and they also give you a annual raise to 20,000 for this particular bump in title, and also because of your performance is excellent. Now, that's a 20% raise. That's incredible, right? Then you go home and your wife says, "Hey, babe, how did your review go?" You said, "Babe, it went phenomenal. I actually got a 20% raise. I'm now making 20K more. Man, I want to celebrate." You go, you celebrate, probably have a nice dinner, and then you say, "You know what? I want to do something for my wife." And she says, "Well, what do you want to do for me?" "I want to buy you something." "Oh, yeah, you want to buy me something? What do you want to buy me?" "I want to buy you a designer purse." "Oh, nice." Now, in your head, you thought she was going to say, "Oh, yeah, I would love to get a nice little Coach purse." No, no, no. No, no, no. You said $20,000 raise. She doesn't want a Coach purse. She want something more than that. So long story short, you're 5K in the hole. 5K in the hole because you got a raise. Your wife wants a new purse. You thought it was going to be a Coach purse, but it was actually a $5,000 designer purse. Okay. So now y'all going out and your wife's looking at you. She say, "Babe, I got this designer purse. You still wearing that Timex watch. I mean, come on, you got to upgrade." Now you find yourself looking for a Rolex Submariner. You say, "You know what? I do need an upgrade." But you're a very conservative person, right? You're a very conservative person. So you don't go into the store or the authorized dealer and go buy a brand new Rolex. No, 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 no. You're a very responsible person. So you go in the secondary market and you go get a Rolex Submariner and you spend, let's just say, 10,000. 10K on a Rolex Submariner so you can match the energy of your wife and her new designer purse. Man, you just got a $20,000 raise. You're in the hole this year already, 15K. Man. And the next thing you know, you're in the hole 15K this year, and your effective $20,000 raise, you've already spent 75% of it. So that 15K is already out the window. So that's how life creep, or lifestyle creep, we should say, works. And then you're not even going to go down the rabbit hole of what happens when you actually start upgrading your lifestyle. Now you need new cars and you want to get a bigger house because you're having more kids. I mean, this is how lifestyle creep sneaks up on you, and it kills us all. It kills everything you were working toward, your future. It definitely kills wealth. Now, quick story time. I remember working within business banking, and in that role, particularly just to educate, what I would do is I would meet with various different business owners from various different industries, and I would vet them for individual companies that fit within the bank's risk profile, right? Layman's terms, you identify companies that the bank wants to lend to. And I remember a lot of my colleagues and I, we used to joke about how to find the perfect client, you had to find the person who does not need the bank's money. And you may think like, how does that make sense? Like, banks are there to lend to people who don't have the money to fund some of the projects or grow their business in a way. And there are a lot of banks, just to be clear, that do lend to individuals who may not have the means at the time, or they don't have the particular credit or money available to grow their business. But when we're talking about large banks in particular, at least ones that I work for, you had to have a credit profile or business profile that exuded or displayed that you didn't ideally need the money. The best way I can kind of explain it is to give you a celebrity example or a very known example. You can use Elon Musk, right? Last year, Elon Musk bought Twitter. And we all know that Elon is worth multiple hundreds of billions of dollars. And Twitter was only a quarter or a portion of that hundreds of billions of dollars. And he went out and seeked credit or debt from financial institutions to pay for it. Now, he could have liquidated his net worth and used that money to fund his particular purchase for Twitter, or X for that matter. And he chose to go a debt route. Now I don't advise that any individual use debt to fund any investment or business ideas unless that debt is a small portion of their net worth or cash that they may have on hand. But these are examples. Now, there's multiple reasons why you would use debt versus any sort of cash or your net worth. If it went all south, Elon completely lost every penny he had is only still a portion of his net worth. So the bet is totally different. What do you think makes more, the interest that Elon is getting charged on his particular debt to buy Twitter, or the potential increase in his net worth from the equity he owns in his companies? So basically, long story short, let's just say he's paying 5%, and it's probably nowhere near over 10%. So I would say Elon's probably paying somewhere between 5 and 10. I don't know for sure, I'm just speculating. Let's just say because of the economic environment, he's paying somewhere between 5 and 10. Do you anticipate over the next 10 years SpaceX, Tesla going up more than 5 to 10% or less than 5 to 10%? Because if it goes up more, then it explains why Elon in particular went after debt as opposed to cashing out his net worth or his equity in his companies. Well, I appreciate you for joining me on this journey. One thing I can guarantee, that the content is going to get better and better. Thank you for joining me. Make sure you like and subscribe to the video and turn on this notification bell so you can be notified every time I drop new content. I'm having a lot of fun with this. I'll see you in the next video. I'm out. Peace.